Hier het opberei.
Ja, 100% daar.
Okay.
So we are going to be starting shortly. I know I did say 10:30. We're just waiting for the minister. He is on his way in. So as soon as the minister is in, we are going to get things started. so the door can be closed. Great stuff. Well, a very good morning to you and welcome to the official launch of the 2023 Telkom Netball League. We have been made to wait a bit longer for it, but it is finally here. And someone else who's finally here is the minister. You're not going to escape the allegations. Yes, he just arrived, ladies and gentlemen. But he is here, and we are going to be hearing from the minister in a bit. But I couldn't let you go off without me mentioning that, because we know all about that line, but he is here, and we're all about the Telkom Netball League. A very good morning. My name is Andy Mahamba, for those who do not know me, and I'll be your host for this morning. Do remember, if you want to engage, if you want to talk about the Telkom Netball League and all of the excitement that we are witnessing here today, you can use the hashtag TNL is back or hashtag TelkomNL on all social media platforms. That's how things have been running for the past couple of years. And we're now entering the 5th year of the Telkom Netball League, having started in 2019. But of course, the journey for South Africa's Premier Netball League did start in 2014, way back when it was still known as the Brutal Fruit Netball Premier League. So great strides, great growth that we've seen over the couple of years that we've witnessed, and it is going to continue as we move forward. And you'll hear from some of the exciting announcements that we're going to hear today, just how big this tournament is going to be and how much it has grown. And it's also a big year in the world of netball in South Africa, because come July, it's going to be all about the Netball World Cup. And the Telkom Netball League is the final competition just before we head into that Netball World Cup. So it's going to be even more important this year in terms of how it gets our ladies ready for the Netball World Cup. And if you're wondering just how many days we have to go, about 106 days to go until the Netball World Cup. So come this time next week, we'll all be counting down less than 100 days before that big event. It's nearing closer and closer, and I'm pretty sure the excitement is now palpable, not only in this room, but everyone else who's been anticipating the very first Netball World Cup on African soil. But that's it from me for now. We're now going to hand over to the minister to officially welcome everybody and, of course, get things underway for the proceedings of the day. Let's welcome the Honorable Minister, Zizigodwa.
I just arrived. I was not expecting this. But thank you very much for the opportunity. I earlier spoke to Madam President Cecilia Molokwane. In the notes I have here, she's referred to as the CAF President. And I'm a bit worried about it because last week we were in Durban attending the CAF meeting. But thanks very much for the opportunity, and CAF, thank you very much to Cisco Mthembu, and thanks to Telkom. We really want to invite more commercial partners to participate in sport, particularly this year because it's a year of women in sport. We've seen a lot of progress. We ourselves in the department, we support a lot of women in sport when we support federations. We have no doubt that this year, when you go to Cape Town, when you go elsewhere, including Banyana, they will carry the aspirations of 60 million South Africans. And therefore, this launch today signifies one progress that we have made in development of women's sport in South Africa. We have seen good participation of women in T20, women cricket, and we hope to see more. And I think in the past, we almost, from a commercial point of view, I think there was less of really participation and support given to women. I'm very glad that today we are launching the league. About a few weeks ago, we attended the last game of cricket. It was the last season. It was the last game of the season. And I wondered what else will happen between then and now. They promised me that there is the league coming. And I'm very glad that we're here today. I look forward to watch a lot of your games. As you are aware, that what must really capture the imaginations of the country in the next few months is a really Netball World Cup in Cape Town, which is very historic in many ways. Historic is the first of this kind in an African continent, South Africa being the first country to host it. Hosting and bidding has become one of our, if you like, my vision and the vision of government, because not only does it contribute to revenue, but also it projects the ability of the country to host international events. We have state-of-the-art events, stadiums. That's why we had CAF last week in Durban for the first time. And it's a great opportunity for the country. When we met with CAF executive from President Mutsipe to the last person who was present in Durban, they all appreciated South Africa's hospitality. So hosting and bidding, it will be one of the mainstreams of our mission as the administration. We want to thank you, Telkom. We hope more. I'm told you have increased, but I think you can do more. I think you can do more, but also we invite other commercial partners to participate. I had an opportunity about a week ago, a few days ago, to attend some of the sport events over the Easter weekend. We went to the most rural areas of Eastern Cape, which is the mecca of rugby. And one of our vision is to harness and develop sport, rural sport development, which has been ignored. It has been ignored, unfortunately, that some of our best national heroes and heroines come from the areas with no infrastructure, very poor. You can talk about rugby, you can talk about cricket, you can talk about banyana banyana. And I think our investment mainly has been almost urban. And I think we want to focus more on rural sport development as well as infrastructure. Yesterday, myself and the Deputy Minister, we were talking to the President of SARU. We were asking why Danny Craven has not gone out of Western Cape to the Eastern Cape, for example. This is a mecca of rugby. And these are some of the things that, in our view, will deepen transformation. And as we meet here today, we want to see more of young girls participating, not only in the league level, but also at a national level, because not only does it help South Africa to deal with many issues, maladies we have in society, but sport plays an important role in terms of social cohesion and nation building. What we have not done much is the economy of sport. And we've undermined that in the development of sport in the country. The economy of sport, whether you're talking about coaching, whether you're talking about, one of the problems we have is the issues about broadcasting, for an example. We are talking, very soon we'll be talking to some of the broadcasters. Some of the major tournaments are not available to the majority of the people of South Africa because of issues of monopoly. We're dealing with that. We hope that those issues produce some results. At least there must be some concession, Deputy Minister, that some of the national sport, when they play international games, they must be available to all South Africans. And I think that issue can be resolved between the broadcasters, because our view is that you can't have the majority of people in South Africa who are only confined to football, to netball. The rest of other sporting codes are only reserved for the few who've got access to certain broadcast, and that for us is a problem. But thank you very much. On Friday, we do want to invite you, because once more, the South African spirit, Philip is here, must grip us on Friday. And when we launch Netball Friday in Tembisa, and we hope will come, all of us, in numbers, because very soon after that, as we prepare to defend our World Championship in Paris, we'll also launch the Rugby Fridays. We do invite you to come in your numbers to Tembisa, because we think South Africa's moment now, given the mood in the country, we do need a special moment to lift up the mood in the country. And I think Friday, as well as the netball that is coming in Cape Town, will once more do us a favor to lift up the moment. Therefore, we invite you. We thank you very much, and all the best. Thank you very much, Telkom. Thank you.
Cool. Is this one on? Cool. Thank you so much to the Minister for the opening address. And I think now that we've officially welcomed everybody, we can also officially welcome members of the media, all other stakeholders, the Netball South Africa executive that's also in the room, as well as the Deputy Minister, Ms. Notawe Mafu, who's in attendance, Ms. Gugum Tembu from Telkom, and all other Telkom representatives that are here today, and of course, the Netball South Africa President, Ms. Cecilia Molokwane. We're now going to move on to the next part of the program, and that is when I invite Ms. Gugum Tembu from Telkom, as well as Cecilia Molokwane from Netball South Africa, for a discussion around the vision of Telkom for this Netball League, what we can expect for this season, and of course, with this being a big year of the Netball World Cup, what does this mean for Telkom and the league in getting everybody ready for the global showpiece? So without any further ado, let's welcome now Cecilia Molokwane as well as Gugum Tembu. Right. I think we've been here a number of times, Cecilia, Gugu. Every single year, it's an exciting event. It's an exciting time for everybody because it puts netball in the spotlight. But I think we'll start with you, Madam President, in terms of exactly what this means for you as a federation. And I did say a bit earlier on, we're now in the 10th year of the league, the 5th year with Telkom as a partner, and it does seem to be growing from strength to strength. When you're looking back and reflecting, what does it mean for you as you're sitting here on the stage to see just how far we've come with the Telkom Netball League?
Thank you, Andy. Yeah, I don't have words, truly speaking, because when you look at how we started with Telkom in 2019, they were just testing us at the time and saying, we're only giving you this year to see what we can do with you. And as usual, I always say, Minister, when you want the job done, send a woman. It shall be done. So we outclassed ourselves, and we did what Telkom did not expect at the time. And now looking that this year is the 5th year with Telkom, and it has grown. When Telkom took over in 2019, it was 10 teams. And we are sitting at 13 teams now, which we will talk about others later. So you see the growth of 2019 to 2023, and you ask yourself that there's something that we're doing right as Netball South Africa. And there's something that Telkom says, we want to invest with people that are doing right and that we can associate ourselves with. You know, one thing I love about Telkom is you say, Telkom, leave your monati. I don't say that. I say, Telkom, leave your netball. Because your monati will be just for a while and it will disappear. Monati means something nice and sweet. So to us, it's Telkom, leave your netball. So it has been 10-year journey of the league. It has grown. It has grown from girls not being paid, thanks to Telkom. The girls are paid for playing the league. It has gone for the girls just not having a brand to wear. Today the girls are wearing Puma, you know, to say we're playing under the label of Puma. It has gone to the girls not being on TV continuously, to SuperSport saying, we will make sure that the games are all live and they are seen live on television and the girls can see themselves there. It has gone from no sponsor of making people, Minister, this one is going to kill you. The coaches are under pressure when it comes to TNL. Why I'm saying this is because of this Hollywood bet. When TNL starts, there's betting happening on the teams that are going to win. And some coaches I were told, I went on Jisa, man. I man, keep betting more. And they're forgetting that it's netball. It's a win or a lose. It has gone to being Spa good for you and Spa being good for netball. Coming up to Discovery, which is taking care of our health. And this is all about Telkom. If Telkom did not expose this to all the sponsors that are coming in that I'm mentioning now, it wouldn't be happening. So we want to say thank you so much to Telkom for believing in us and saying to women's sport, we are here for you and we want to be there for you. As Gugu, I'll always say this, and don't forget it. When my husband was still alive, when I was a bit angry with him, I'll go to that, box. And in that box, I'll look for a marriage certificate. And there's one thing that I looked for, expiry date. So that's how I badly wanted to go out at the time. But I couldn't get it. So when you are in marriage, like you're in marriage with Netball, there's no expiry date. So you must be sure of that. That we are here, whether we will be there or won't be there in those days as presidents or whatever, but you are in for life. As long as Netball is there, you are in for life. That's the partnership. They are not our sponsor, Minister. Deputy Minister, they are not our sponsor. They are our partners. And once you have a partner, you are in this marriage for life, unfortunately. And thank you for choosing us, because we are beautiful.
Yeah, let's talk about that partnership, Sis Gugu, because we're hearing from the applause in the room, and certainly from the motivating words that we've heard from the President, that this has done a lot, not only for the players, but for the game of netball and the number of sponsors that have been named here. What does this do for you as Telkom? How does it make you feel to know that you've been part of this? And more importantly, Madam President said 2019 was supposed to be just, rehearsal, a test. What is it that captured you about netball that made you think, well, we can go on for another couple of years here?
Well, I think the path was charted when 2014. We came in 2019 and we widened the path because we wanted to make sure that the benefits that the league stood for, or rather the purpose that the league stood for, was widened, and most girls could benefit from that. But for us as a brand, I think it goes back to our core purpose. Our core purpose is to make sure that every South African, and in this instance being netball, every girl, every young girl has a bright future. So in everything we do, transformation, progress, are kind of our guiding lights. So everything that we touch, we want to see progress. I think those of you who've lived long enough remember back in the 80s and 90s, Telkom was synonymous with swimming. We went into a sport that was very underrepresented, especially in the black communities, and we invested in it. And for years, we were known to be the swimming, the brand that enabled kids that did not have access to swimming pools to actually be able to swim and save lives because we minimized drowning. So with netball as well, we talk about gender equality, gender equity, but if you look at sports, there's still a lot of underrepresentation, especially for female sports. Cecilia speaks about, at the time, the league was played, the girls were not paid. They were playing because it was their passion. But passion rewarded actually results in even bigger strides being met. So for us as a brand, it's been a rewarding 5 years. And Cecilia says we were testing. We don't go into anything testing. We always go in with a purpose. And our purpose was very clear. We want to see lives changed. And I think we can attest to it with the teams continuing to grow year on year. We started with 10. There's 13 teams now, and I'm sure before this year ends, we're going to have even more teams participating. And if we can get even more, it means that more young girls have a chance to get onto the national stage and beyond onto international stages. Thanks.
Oh, wow, you just took me back. Some feelings of nostalgia. I don't know if many of you remember Telkom Splash and the days of swimming where it was almost synonymous with swimming. And while we're there, Sis Gugu, there's another initiative that you have in the netball space, the Stand Tall campaign. I want you to tell some of the people in the room and some of the people at home who might not be aware of it exactly what you intend that to be, because we did have a launch of that campaign a couple of weeks ago. Just tell us a bit more about it.
So for us, it wouldn't have made sense not to back Netball South Africa when they went and bid for the World Cup. And when they came back and said, we've got it in the bag, it became kind of the next step for our girls that play in the Telkom Netball League, because some of them are in the national team, some are aspiring to be in the national team. And looking at the journey that some of the SPAR Proteas have had to take for them to be on the national stage, we realize that this is the greatest platform that we can have as South Africa to encourage young girls to dream big. So Stand Tall basically says, stand up for what you believe in, stand tall, chase your passion, chase your dreams. And that's our key campaign for the Netball World Cup. And I think most of you are aware that we are one of the premier sponsors. So the World Cup for us was just an extension of what we do with the Telkom Netball League. But we know the World Cup is a once-off event. So the inspiration needs to lead young kids towards the day-to-day, whether it's a Telkom Netball Championships at school level or the league itself. But Stand Tall is basically finding ways to encourage young girls to chase their dreams, but also celebrating those that have actually made it into the SPAR Proteas team. And 4 of the SPAR Proteas are actually the ambassadors for Stand Tall. And we'll be going around the country, especially the communities where they come from, to go and encourage young girls that can, it's easy for you to believe in something when you see someone that has walked the same path as you. And that's why it was important for us not to just have it as a campaign, national campaign, but take it to the communities. And as part of that, we will be running netball clinics, but also investing in building courts within those communities so that more kids have access to gameplay.
Oh, that's really exciting. And perhaps for those who were not part of that particular launch, I must tell you that the Stand Tall campaign has sparked somewhat of a light in the lives of some young, aspiring sports players. And I'm not just specifically talking about netball, because a lot of the ladies that were part of that were young girls who play other sports but took an interest in netball because they could identify with some of the journeys of those netball players. And the 4 ambassadors that Gugu is mentioning, of course, is Khisal Bongiwe Msomi, who is the captain of the SPAR Proteas, Chinam Dao, as well as Kanyisa Chawani, are the 4 players that are the ambassadors of the Stand Tall campaign. Look, they're all mid-quarters, and we might be thinking there's a conspiracy there for all the players to be in the mid-court, but I think a great initiative indeed for Telkom to make sure that netball is touching everybody at the grassroots. And that's where I want to go with you, Madam President, because that's something that you are very passionate about. That is making sure that netball reaches every single corner of the country and every single person, no matter their background. And you have your slogan, which is taking netball to the people. How can we expect that from the Telkom Netball League this year?
Taking netball back to the people is a hashtag that I came up with, Minister, when I became the president of Netball South Africa. Because I wanted to believe that netball was not reached where it is, because I'm a rural girl. I'm from a village. So at the village that I'm from, netball was not there. And I wanted to say, how do I become a president? And where I'm from, there is no netball. And this year, Telkom has been saying to us, you cannot always be in Gauteng. You cannot always do your Telkom League in Gauteng. We need to go to other provinces and do the netball, because if you really believe in your slogan, President, of saying taking netball back to the people, you should take it to the people. And this year, it's going to my home province of Limpopo. So that's where it's going to say, to start. And we're happy because Telkom has identified Limpopo as one of those provinces that they want to go to. And why? Is because they also have a mission on their own. So we have to support them on the mission that they have. We don't have to be selfish and say, but this is what we want to do. It's not going to Limpopo because I'm from Limpopo. It's going to Limpopo because Telkom wanted it in Limpopo. It's going to Limpopo because the events team of Netball South Africa saw it fit that it goes to Limpopo and we go to other provinces, because in Netball South Africa, we have taken a decision as the executive minister that all our 9 provinces must benefit in all our projects, in all our events every year, because we cannot always be in one province. But after that, as we know, that home of champions, it's always there. They want to be there. I mean, Vivian is there, the Sports Confederation president, and you'll always say, what are you bringing to me? And he's here, and I know he's smiling because he knows that the finalists of the TNL will be at the Hartfeld Arena in Pretoria, in Limpopo, in Pretoria. So at the Hartfeld Arena, and in Limpopo it will be at the Ngwakura Matlodi Indoor Center. Minister is going to a township called Seshego. It's not going to be in town. It will be in a township called Seshego. So the girls will experience township life. Le re ke ndi ko tala kwa. Apa le tla gae le dieng ga botse le lena le bontshong gore le banyana ba kwa. And Minister, you know, as I was looking at the girls, I wanted to say something to you that Telkom did. This girl was identified at Telkom Netball League, and I see her sitting amongst the players. And she's got a world medal where she's sitting right now. Because they went to Fast 5 last year, and they came back with a silver medal as South Africa from Fast 5, World Netball Series. And she's here. And she's a little dynamite. When I'm going to say to her, she must stand up. And she must come here, Shanine, so as they can see you, my baby. Come. She's got a silver medal from World Netball. And I know she did not expect this, but if we don't flaunt them, and we are not proud of them, and we don't show them to the world, and show them to the country, who will do that on behalf? Well done, girl, and well done to your girls. You really made South Africa proud. So these are the kind of girls. This is what Telkom does, Sis Gugu. Because she was identified at TNL. If it was not of TNL, we wouldn't have seen how fast she is, that she can go and take the world at that level. So this is where we are. It's starting on the 28th, ne? 26th. 26 until the 2nd of May. When is the opening ceremony? 28 is my birthday. The opening ceremony is on my birthday. That's why I was mentioning the date. And the DM, you must know that I did not have any influence on that. That is, it's coming to Limpopo. On the 28th is the opening ceremony. Sis Gugu, it's my birthday on the 28th. And
Look,
it's Telkom Day.
I'm seeing Sis Gugu trying not to acknowledge the 28th because maybe there are a lot of presents that need to come out. But let's now zone in. We've already heard one big announcement, and that is there's going to be a new venue. So there's going to be the first Power Week in Limpopo before we move to the Hartfeld Arena for the rest of the Telkom Netball League. And the dates as well, in terms of the start. You can book out that final week of April. There's public holidays in between, so you'll have time to go catch the netball. But let's get back then in terms of moving forward and the path. We've been speaking about the Netball World Cup and how important this year is for women's sport and for South Africa hosting Sis Gugu. It's also very important for Telkom because you're also one of the premium partners of the Netball World Cup. How are you hoping to use the Telkom Netball League this year to propel things forward for the Netball World Cup, both for your brand, but also for the players that we're going to be seeing?
So it definitely is a great year that we all need to back, as in backing the girls as they go and play in the World Cup. You ask what it means for us. I think for us it wasn't just about investing in netball just for the brand to get, the brand creds. For us, it was about making sure that we do improve and change lives. And while the World Cup is great for us, and I guess it's the pinnacle of this year's netball in general, it didn't make sense for us to bow out this year. So our contract officially ends this year. But Cecilia spoke about expiries. I'm not going to speak about expiries. In our world, we speak about renewals. So we've officially engaged Netball South Africa, and we've decided to extend our partnership for a further 3 years. And the reason for that, the reason for that is that, investment professionals talk about when you invest, you then need to nurture investment, let it mature. And for us, it's an investment that we've seen deliver great results. As Cecilia said, we've seen young girls play on international stages that they probably would not have had access to if we didn't have the league existing. So we want to see even more. We want to see more provinces represented. And I think as we stand today, all provinces are actually represented in netball today. But we want to make sure that there's more clubs within the provinces that get to participate. So we're hoping that within the 3 years, we will be able to achieve that. And who knows what happens beyond the 3 years.
Well, that's great news. I think we need another round of applause for the 3-year extension of the contract. That's awesome. So we've spoken about the dates when the Telkom Netball League starts, where it's going to be held. We've heard the contract has been extended. I know there's another announcement that you have, and that is from what Sis Gugu said. 3 years, that's plenty of time to perhaps introduce new teams into the league, isn't it?
We are. Minister, we are growing this year. We're moving from 13 teams to 15 teams. So this year we are introducing the Limpopo Lilies. And we are also introducing the Free State Sonneblom. So we've got extra 2 teams. So in the 8th division, last year we all know that KZN was relegated. So in introducing these 2 teams, KZN stays in the A section. So because of they played the relegation, so they stay in the A section. So the new 2 teams go to the B section so they can also work into us going to the A section. So we've got, you know, KZN must say thank you to Amadlozi actually. You know, Amadlozi, because now we have this, that, you know, they were relegated, but they're no longer relegated. They stay in the A section. So we will have those teams playing there, and it's a growth. Sis Gugu, this is what Telkom has done, the growth in netball. We want to end up with 18 teams. And I know with Telkom and with the partnership that we have, we will definitely end up with 18 teams. So this year, as I said to you, introducing Limpopo Lilies and Free State Sonnebloms.
Right, so we've got 2 brand new teams that are going to be in the Telkom Netball League this year. From 10 teams when it all started to now 15. We're introducing 2 brand new teams. And I think that does deserve a round of applause. It is a testament just of how much the league has grown. So, Madam President, we've spoken about the wins. We've spoken about the growth of the Netball League. What would you still like to see? You said you still want to see perhaps getting to 18 teams. Is there anything else that you would think you would like to see in the short term for the Telkom Netball League, either in terms of players or even going to more places? What would you still like to tick off the list?
You know, next year we want to introduce international players coming to play in the country for the TNL, because that's what we call growth. This year we were selfish because we're hosting the World Cup. We wanted to keep it amongst ourselves to say, let our girls enjoy this. So it also gives the girls competition to say, there's a Zambia girl, there's a Zimbabwe girl, there's a Malawi girl, there's a Scotland girl, there's an Australian girl, there's a New Zealand girl that can come into this country and play. We are going to have it like, you know, you have it at PSL that, you know, we can have 2 or less, you know, international players in your team to come and boost the team so as the team can play. So as we can also show that as right now, as the Hollywood of Africa, Minister, we are the Hollywood of Africa. Everybody in Africa looks at us and they see Hollywood because we are there. Yeah, when they see South Africa, we are Hollywood. So we are there. So as the Hollywood of Africa, we are saying we want to introduce that. And most importantly, we want to grow. We're talking all the time with Telkom that we have to turn this league professional. It has to be professional. The girls must wake up in the morning, go play netball, drink netball, do everything netball, Jola netball, Mary netball, and still be paid at the end of the day. Do something as they like. And you know, that will say to the girls, there's a career here. There's life here. This is where I want to be. This is where I see myself in the future. And some of them, obviously, we want them to branch into being coaches, into being administrators, into being umpires in the future, so as the sport keeps on growing. So to me, the most important thing right now is bringing in, as much as we have to do this export and import of players to show that we are growing as the country.
So let me come in here then, because we've had this discussion before, and I'm sure there's some people who will be asking, but you wanted to have international players. You've been wanting to have the league turning fully professional. So what is it that is perhaps the impediment? What is the barrier? Why is this something that is not achievable right now?
Until the corporate world believes in women's sport, Minister, it's going to be easy for us. I can tell you, I'm disappointed where I'm sitting because we've got so many banks in South Africa, but none of the banks is associated with Netball South Africa. And you ask yourself a question, why? Women use so many brands. None of the brands is associated with Netball South Africa. And you ask yourself, why? We've got so many car dealerships that are in this country, but they are not wanting to associate with Netball South Africa or with women's sport. And you ask yourself, why? And Andy, I always say this, Minister, we gave birth to you as women. Why can't you listen to us and help us and support us in what we want to do and promote us and make us who we want to be? So I'm still going to challenge the corporate world, Andy, to say, we want you to come on board. We want you to come and invest in turning netball professional. Believe you me, mark this day, you won't regret it. You'll even say, why did we come up this late? Because we would have come up very early in the game.
So that's, suppose, an invite to sponsors, potential partners who might be listening and want to join in. It is a growing sport. If you get into the game of netball, chances are you are going to get a return on investment. But Sis Gugu, perhaps that would be a question for you then. I did ask Cecilia in terms of what it is that could still be grown from a Netball South Africa perspective from a Telkom side. Return on investment is very important. Every time you put money into something, you need to make sure that you get something out. It might not be money, but what is it that you're still hoping to see from a sponsorship perspective in terms of growth going forward?
I think probably I won't speak about sponsorship per se, but I think for me, when you engage the communities out there about netball, I think there's a general understanding of it is a sport, it's a female sport, but very few people actually engage with the sport and take time to understand it. I think if we don't get South Africans to support and promote netball the same way they did in 2010 when we have the World Cup this year, it will just be an event and it will pass. And for us to take, as a country, pride in the sport, I think is one thing that I'd like to see. Having more people engaging and interacting with the sport and understanding it and then supporting our girls. I think that's one way that we can encourage every young girl out there to get into it and want to participate. So outside of sponsorship and the return that we get out of it as a brand, I think having more support from the larger South African community is what I'd like to see.
Great, so I think great support is what Telkom wants to see. And the Minister did mention a bit earlier, there's also the launch of the Netball Friday initiative happening in Tembisa. So that would be a great way to start showing support. And those who already have their Netball Friday t-shirts to perhaps wear those on Fridays. As we conclude then, ladies, it's a big year for women's sport. Spoken about the T20 Cricket World Cup, the under 19 World Cup. There's the FIFA Women's World Cup happening a bit later on the year. And also the Netball World Cup, which is what a lot of people would be excited about. What does it mean for you, Sis Gugu, as we wrap things up then? Two women sitting on the stage, commanding the attention of a room, women being put in the forefront of sports, which is something that they've been longing for a very long time. Seeing this materialize and Telkom being part of it, what does it mean for you as a female to see just how much people are getting behind women's sport? And we hope it does continue beyond this year, but certainly a step in the right direction.
It tells me that we're making progress. I think we've been speaking about transformation in different spheres for a number of years. We've been speaking about women's rights. We've been speaking about women being given the stage and the platform. The Madam President spoke earlier about when you provide the stage to a woman, she would outclass and outshine whatever performance targets were set. So I think it tells me that we're definitely transforming, that progress is definitely here, but there's still more to be done. So we should be proud as a country, and we should be proud of the teams that are playing in the league and in the World Cup as well. So transformation and progress, I think, is starting to be palpable.
Madam President, here for her. It's a big year. Everybody is talking about how big it is for women. Just your thoughts on that, and perhaps how it makes you feel knowing that this is the change we've been waiting for and it's finally happening.
And I'll call it 2020 She. It's our year, it's our time, it's our stage. And I always say, when you've given the stage, make sure that you walk that catwalk with confidence. And make sure that as you walk with confidence, you command respect, you command authority, and you command to say, I am here. And I'm not only here for now, but I'm here to stay. So as women, and as is the women's sport year, I want to call it that way, we should, the main thing that I think we are lacking as women, Minister, is we should support each other. There's no need for us to go and compete with cricket or with rugby or with football. We should be complimenting each other and say, when the cricket girls are playing, I loved what the Spa Proteas did when it was T20 in Cape Town. They left their busy schedule and they were inside the Quad Series. And they went and supported the cricket girls. That is what I call complimenting each other and supporting each other. So I was even saying to Coach Des that, because we've got this beautiful relationship with her, I was saying to her, Coach, I wish we were not playing at the same time. That, you know, we can bring the Spra Proteas to New Zealand and England just to come and support you, to show the kind of support that we want to do, and to take the girls to the Rugby Women's World Cup, to say, this is what we want to see as each other, supporting each other. Because, you know, I always say, as women, we are good at criticizing each other and fighting each other and finding faults in each other. But we are not good at complimenting each other and seeing what best that woman has done. So this is the time, this is the year to change that mindset, to say we have to change our mindset. If the deputy minister is doing good, don't be shy to tell her. Tell her, compliment her as another woman, to say she's doing good as a deputy minister of sport in the women sector, and she's making us proud as women. And if she's doing wrong, don't be shy to go to her and say, that one, it was not correct. Don't go behind the back and say 7, 8, 9, and connive with men to say this is what she's doing wrong. So the mindset, this is, to me, this is the year of the changing of the mindset and starting to say as women, let's hold hands. You know, and I wish to see the year or the time that we hold hands as women and we say, we are here, we are Bogotos, and we'll do this together. And the world, look at us achieving this, being supported by the men we gave birth to. Thank you.
Oh, very strong words there from Madam President. I think that is a place where we're going to leave it in terms of the discussion here. We've gotten to know exactly what we can expect from the Telkom Netball League, what we can expect from Telkom going forward. And I certainly think a lot of people in the room are now waiting to see the kits. We've got 2 new teams. We've got the 13 teams that have been part of the Telkom Netball League, but what are they going to be wearing for the season? So we're going to get that done. You did mention that women need to walk the catwalk, feel confident. So we'll allow them to do that. Thank you very much, Cecilia. Thank you very much, Siskugu. You can take your seats as we now are preparing for the ladies to come in. And just as we do that then, I think we need to digest and recap the conversation that we've just had in terms of exactly what it means going forward. So from the final week of April, we are going to be having the Telkom Netball League kicking off. It's going to be starting in Limpopo, after which it will move to the Hartfeld Arena in Pretoria. Then in terms of the teams, we're now going to be having 15 teams still split into the two divisions. Of course, the Eastern Cape Aloes, as the winners of Division 2 last season, will move into Division 1. The Kingdom Stars of KZN will stay in that division, despite having been relegated, because we do have the two new teams. So that's the changes that you can expect for the Telkom Netball League. The one thing that's not going to change, though, is it's all going to be live and exclusive on SuperSport, so you can catch all of that netball action as and when you want to watch it. So let's go now to the various teams and call them out to show us their kit. And as we do so, there was a young lady who was standing in front of us here, silver medalist at the Fast Five. Her name is Shannon Bartlett from the Southern Stings. So just in case you were trying to put a name to that face, that's who she is, and you'll see her shortly as she comes out in the kit. But let's call out the first team then. It's the Eastern Cape Aloes, the champions of Division 1 last season. Let's see what they'll be wearing. And up next, it's going to be one of the two teams now from Limpopo in the Telkom Netball League, the Limpopo Baobabs. Five-time league champions and a force to be reckoned with, the Gauteng Jaguars are the third team up. Up next is a team that was introduced to the league in 2021, becoming the second Eastern Cape team to join the Telkom Netball League, the Eastern Cape Comets. And up next, all the way from the Northwest, is the Northwest Flames, campaigning in Division 1 in the Telkom Netball League. Introduced in 2020 as the second KZN team in the league, it's the KZN Kingdom Queens. I mentioned her a bit earlier, Shannon Bartlett. Well, she's stepping out to show us the kit for the Western Cape Southern Stings, campaigning in Division 1 of the league. Nothing less than what we expected from the ever-bubbly Shannon. So those are the teams then. In eighth, we have the Mpumalanga Sunbirds, having narrowly missed out on the championship in Division 2. They return again this year and showing us their kits. We now move to the second Gauteng side, the side that managed to dethrone the Jaguars and claim the championship last season. It's the Gauteng Golden Fireballs. And all the way from up north, from the Northern Cape, it is the pretty shiny Diamonds stepping out in their Puma kits. And yes, they did escape relegation. They're going to stay in Division 1, not to be confused with the second KZN team that we did call up. This is the KZN Kingdom Stars, and they are in Division 1 in the campaign. And our first of the new teams for this season, all the way from Limpopo in Division 2, is the Limpopo Lilies. Now, the three-time champions from the Free State, one of two Free State teams for this season, the Free State Crinums. Introduced to the league in 2020, becoming the second of two Western Cape teams. This team, however, is in Division 2. It's the Western Cape Tornadoes. See a bit of the height there. And for our final team then, it is our second of the new teams in the Telkom Netball League this year. From the Free State, they're going to be in Division 2. It's the Free State Sonneblom. Can we give the players another round of applause, please? And just before you leave, I'd now like to invite the Minister, Deputy Minister, as well as Sis Gugu and Ms. Cecilia Mulukwane from Netball South Africa to please join the ladies for a photo. Thank you so much to all the players. And I'm sure you must agree that the kids are looking absolutely dazzling. So thank you to Puma as well, the kit sponsors for all the 15 teams that will be campaigning in the Telkom Netball League. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we certainly hope you've been keeping busy on social media using those two hashtags, hashtag TNL is back and hashtag TelkomNL. And that's where we're going to find all the excitement for the league as it does progress. And hopefully, once the league has started, we'll continue then using those hashtags to keep the excitement going all the way up to the Netball World Cup. That brings us to the end of the official proceedings, but you do know that before we close any occasion off, we do need to have a vote of thanks for everybody who has been part of this event, and of course, everyone here in the room who's decided to grace us with their presence. And to deliver the vote of thanks, I'd like to now call on the Deputy Minister, Ms. Notawe Maf.
Thank you so much, Andy. Leadership of Netball South Africa, led by President Cecilia, and the big sponsor, Siskuku. We wouldn't really be here without you. To the teams that are here, and the media, and everybody else that is here. Thank you so much. But I think my thanks goes directly to Telkom first, because you actually believed in netball and you made it happen. And you made sure that those girls have got something to dream about. And you actually made sure that we have got something to be proud of, which is netball. We are proud, but we proud because you made it happen. My babies, take this opportunity and make it work for yourselves. And make sure that when this league starts and finishes, you actually forget about us. You think about yourselves and you shine. Remember, the beauty of this league now, it starts just before the World Cup. So you are going to put the star and everything else on South Africa, because this league, as SuperSport and SABC and everybody broadcast it, other countries are going to be watching closely because we are hosting in July. So you are as good as campaigning for the World Cup. So the league actually is a curtain raiser for the World Cup. So play your hearts out and make sure that you actually do the best. Forget the fact that the team for the World Cup has been chosen. There's always international exposures. There's always more that is coming. Play for yourselves. And remember that actually when you do that, you are actually making sure that you are launching yourselves to the world. And media, thank you so much for being here, for believing in netball. You always come to the party. There was a time that netball, when they have this kind of launches, there would be little of you in the space. But because you're starting to understand and believe that actually women's sport is something that is to believe on. Thank you, because you are putting it out there. You are making sure that people are starting to understand and to know that women's sport in South Africa is happening. And as we go back home, remember, the 25th of July is the first day of the match of Banyana Banyana in New Zealand. And the team will be in camp, the Spa Proteas, and they will be cheering Banyana Banyana for their first match. And remember, on the 28th, they will be playing their first match against Wales. Am I right, President? You see, I'm within. And we will make sure that we are all behind the team. Between myself and Minister, we're still debating who will be in New Zealand and who will be in Cape Town. But we will talk about that. But we want to make sure that we are in both tournaments, so that we make sure that women at all levels feel supported by the government at all times. Thank you so much. We really hope that you are going to give us a blaster of the league, and I know that you're not going to disappoint. Whoever wins, don't worry, but make sure that you are with the winner for yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, leadership of Netball. We love you.
Thank you so much to the ever bubbly Deputy Minister, Ms. Natawe Mafu. So ladies and gentlemen, that does officially bring us to the end of proceedings. And this is a good opportunity for me to say thank you to everybody who has taken time out of their day to be with us. We've already had the official vote of thanks, but thank you yet again to all the members of the media. And we're certainly hoping that the message will then reverberate to the rest of the people that you broadcast to, you write to, if you are in print media, in terms of the Netball World Cup and also the Telkom Netball League as and when it happens. So as we come to the end, then a couple of announcements. There will be an opportunity for one-on-one interviews as well as photographs. Please just be mindful of others that are also trying to get the interviews. So for broadcast media, if you need the backdrop, you'll probably need to be in the venue. And for those doing audio clips and radio, obviously can be outside because you don't need any visual elements. Then lunch will also be served downstairs at the restaurant for those who are feeling a bit peckish. There will be lunch served downstairs. And also please remember your parking tickets as you are leaving the venue. Thank you so much for your time, and certainly hope to see you in Limpopo as we get the Telkom Netball League officially underway at the end of April. My name is Andy Mahamba. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great afternoon.